subsequently by the House, you would set up an investigation as to whether this payment was legitimate, and if possible, retrieve this money so that we can buy the 9,000 cutlasses for the farmers, actually build 1,050 chip compounds and 1,200 6-unit classroom blocks. Hopefully, Adaklu will get some of the 6-unit classroom blocks because we still have schools under trade. Will you make a commitment to make sure that this $53 million, which many Ghanaians believe was a waste, would become something that can benefit the ordinary people of this country?
Thank you very much. Before you proceed to answer the question, let me reiterate the fact that regarding the form of the communication to Parliament, I indicated quoting
a decided case to support. As a matter of fact, it's not about the form but the substance. So let's leave it there. You may proceed to provide an answer to the question. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, this takes me back to what I started earlier. The quality of expenditure matter. You see, and I've said earlier on that there was the need for us to cut the waste. This is one of the wastes that I refer to. And learning from past mistakes, we don't need to repeat this. As to whether we'll investigate it or not, the Ministry of Finance do not have investigative power. It is the government, and based on the government agenda to investigate. I attend the office of the Attorney General and the newly established ORA. So, Mr. Chairman, for me, let me put it this way. There are bitter lessons we have to learn from some of these expenditures and what it has done to all of us as a country and what we have gone through together, because in the end, we ended up borrowing, and we borrowed into an unsustainable pit to the extent that we had to give domestic bondholders haircuts, including Euro bondholders. So we have to learn from it. And I've said that we need to identify some of these kind of expenditures. You are now aware of this one, but maybe there are a lot more that we are not aware of. Can we identify some of them? Can we pledge together, the political class, the governing class, not to continue some of these things and allow the private sector to deal with some of these things concerned? So I'll leave that here and urge you that I will work with yourselves to identify some of these wasteful expenditures and cut them appropriately. Let's cut the waste together.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. Chairman, my respected colleague Kwame Abuja made reference to an earlier observation made by me in respect of the communication from the Secretary to the President to the House. He did suggest that there is precedence and that in January 2021, specifically 21st of January 2021, a communication from the Presidency was signed by Eugene Ahin,
Acting Director of Communication, informing the Speaker of some nominees, and that to him is a precedence. I humbly beg to disagree with him on his own evidence. The letter he referred to is rather a press release, not a letter to the Speaker. And for his own record, it's titled "For Immediate Release, President Akufo-Addo's nominees for ministerial and regional ministers designate." The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has submitted to Parliament for prior approval through the Speaker, Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, the names of the following persons for appointments as ministers in his new government. So, just for the record, my respected colleague, please, my respected colleague, Eugene Ahin has never written on behalf of the president to the speaker. This is a press release. And if you want me to read the conclusion, I will. President Akufo-Addo is hopeful that Parliament will see to the prompt approval of his nominees so that they can assist in the delivery of his mandate for a second term in office. This is a press release. And in fact, our colleague, Ofosu Kwachi, as the acting spokesperson for the president, has actually also released a statement in respect of the nominees that got to Parliament. So I'm saying that, get the fact right, Eugene Ayin, for records, never wrote to Parliament. And that was not what I was referring to. I referred to the letter from the secretary. In any event, I relied on the rules of the House. So please, Eugene never wrote to us, and I did not mislead the public, neither did I quote the wrong law, or neither was I suggesting that there was no such precedent and that this is something that, I got wrong. I couldn't have gotten it wrong, with respect, sir.
Yes, these are the points well noted. Do you have a further question?
Yes, I think I was just reinforcing the point he made because the orders are clear that such communication should be signed by the president, the vice president, and I agree with you. So I'm just saying that because I know that the
president's executive secretary have communicated to this House on a number of occasions, but as the chair directed, we will leave it there. Leader, the people of Adaklu have heard a lot about the debt of this country. We have heard you say sometimes if we were to share the debt, my auntie, please, would have to pay 20,000 Ghana cedi as part of our debt. But so far, I've not heard you speak about, in your view, going through the transition. How much does this country owe now? What was it in 2016? And what is it now? And how much my auntie is supposed to pay? If we're asked to pay that money, everybody is supposed to pay today.
Thank you very much for your question. How much do we owe now? What was it in 2016?
Mr. Chairman,
Please go ahead with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, the NDR debt numbers has not been finalized. And I would wish to wait for us to finalize NDR numbers. And then as part of the budget, we can announce same. And maybe His Excellency the President, during his State of the Nation address, will have to announce those accurate data. For now, I will urge that we wait until they finalize NDR numbers because the fiscal fits into the debt, and so we'll be able to know exactly what is Ghana's public debt. I don't want to say something and change my position tomorrow, so I beg that you leave that to the NDR numbers. Thank you.
Honorable, it's not the turn of the Deputy Leader, Honorable Patricia Apiaji.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Leader, that's my favorite leader. Having been here for all this while, I've been wondering how many sins this committee has committed to fast-track your vetting today. I've been wondering how many sins we have committed. And I've been wondering whether Banana Republic has been transported back to Ghana. So that's my first question.
Should I treat it as a comment or a question to the nominee?
I've been wondering, and I need an answer from my leader.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I remember enumerating the number of sins she's committed as the vice chair of our appointment committee. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm not a member of the appointment committee. I cannot be too sure the sins they have committed. That one is between you and your God.
I think what I would, you mean you don't know the sins we've committed as a committee for fast-tracking your vetting today, a vetting that was supposed to be held tomorrow and is being held today. And we were even expecting it to be held in the next 2 weeks. Anyway, I like your answer. Honorable Leader, on behalf of the cocoa farmers across the country and on my own behalf, I'd like to congratulate you for your appointment as the Minister Designate for Finance. Honorable Leader, the current cocoa price, producer price of cocoa, is 49,600 per ton. That is 3,100 for 64 kg bag. Over the past 1 year.
Are you talking in terms of dollars or cedis?
Cedis,
I want to be clear.
Over the past 1 year, you've been advocating for higher producer price for our cocoa farmers. And you know they are very happy that given the nod, you are going to be on the seat. Should you get the nod from this house, what reasonable and fair producer price must our cocoa farmers expect from the new administration? And when will this review take place? I would like to mention specifically the figure you mentioned, 6,000 per bag of cocoa. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, without a doubt, I'm a biggest advocate for cocoa farmers. I've done that in the last 8 years, and I've fought for the cocoa farmer, year in, year out. I will not change that. I will work to improve the lot of the cocoa farmer, recognizing their contribution to the economy, recognizing that the cocoa sector has been the mainstay of Ghana's economy for years. My concern, and I've always raised these concerns, has to do with the fact that the sector is collapsing and dwindling at a very fast rate, in fact, at an exponential rate. I think we need to do something, including the farm gate price and revamping the sector itself. I've said that the ministry, the Ghana Cocoa Board is currently under the Ministry of Agriculture. It is not under the Ministry of Finance, unless there's a policy change. But let me speak to what is before us now. It is not under the Ministry of Finance. So I do not have the sole power, prerogative, to announce cocoa price today. But obviously, as a minister, I'll be the champion for cocoa farmers, and I'll make sure that they get a fair price. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Yes, this will be a follow-up because I remember vividly on the floor of Parliament, the minister indicated that he is going to advocate for 6,000 a bag for cocoa farmers. And I'm surprised that you are now saying that it doesn't lie within your sole prerogative to do that. You were emphatic to do that. So should we demand that from you, that farmers are listening?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I don't think this is one of the sins that I enumerated, but I said I will advocate, and I've said that I will not change my position. I can certainly change.
Thank you very much. Another question, please.
Right. Thank you very much. Honorable Member, with the growing population of young people entering the workforce each year, what is your plan to address youth unemployment? And may I continue by asking if you could outline any specific programs to support entrepreneurship, skills training, or expansion of industries that have high job creation potential? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any program to support
Mr.
entrepreneurship
Chairman,
and innovation?
As a government, our job creation measures have been announced as part of our manifesto. As a minister, my responsibility is to mobilize the needed resources. In consultation with Cabinet, I will have to allocate them effectively to the sectors that will create employment and for them to be able to create jobs. When we talk about jobs, Mr. Chairman, and what you said, we've announced our 24-hour economy. And I strongly believe that Ghana has the huge potential of increasing our GDP with the same resources and the same human resource. That in itself will create enough jobs. Jobs that will be able to cater for our teeming youth. But in the meantime, what you said about skill training and all, His Excellency the President, President Mahama, and the manifesto of the NDC has not minced words on this. We are going to set up a structure to train skills, give them access to the required training, and give them the tools for them to be able to learn the trade. I'll fund it as a minister, if approved, or when approved, in such a way that the skills that we lack as a country, we can train them locally and give them employment. Today, most of us, anytime you want to get good artisans, you go to our neighboring countries and bring them in. But we have the youth here. Why don't we give them the training? I think we need to revisit that. And I'll work with the sector ministers and be able to allocate the needed resources to them. And as I've said, that is my role as a minister responsible for finance. So we'll locate the revenue, the resources to them for them to be able to. Then I will mobilize the resources and be able to allocate them effectively and efficiently.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Yes, I'm very much interested in your answer to my last question. But I'm looking at the development of women. And I'm highly interested in your manifesto promise to set up a women development bank. And then free tertiary education. And I know all these things are going to be of a prime benefit for our ladies or our women in the country. With the proposed reduction in taxes, is fiscal consolidation a priority for the government in the near term, taking into account government's manifesto? Thank you.
Honorable nominee.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, fiscal consolidation is not only a priority, but we will front load it. We will front load it carefully. At the same time, we will signal to the investor community strongly that fiscal consolidation is not only a priority, but we will front load it in a way, at the same time not ignoring the impact on growth and protecting the vulnerable. So that, I can assure you, it is a priority. We have an option to rationalize some of these expenditures. And so it's a matter of switching and rationalizing. So it doesn't mean the flagship we've announced as part of our manifesto does not mean we are going to increase expenditure. That is not what it means. It's a priority of government, and we'll do just that.
Thank you for your answer. Any more questions?
Yes, I will have my last contribution.
Question or contribution?
Question, a follow-up question to the statement made or the question put in by Dr. Boakum. Honorable, you agree that data for end of year usually is validated on the first quarter of the ensuing year?
So all data presented during the budget reading in November are provisional. How then do you say that data presented in 2017 and 2018, knowing that they are provisional, you term it as inaccurate? Thank you.
Thank you very much. What did you say? Those data is provisional, though,
Mr.
but
Chairman,
inaccurate.
that is exactly my point. The Honorable Gideon Boakon made reference to a particular data point and said that I was inaccurate. I had said this in 2019, and I said it at the time that the government had published accurate data. I said it at the time that the IMF, at the time, and remember, Ghana was in an IMF program, had gone to their board to present to their board and their final numbers. Mr. Chairman, I did not lie. I said what I believe was the fact. In fact, subsequent data from the Ministry of Finance has confirmed that I was overly generous, and then the fiscal data was even below what I had announced. I had announced 7.8, and that they had revised it downwards to 6.3. Chairman, I did not cook these numbers. This was given to me by the Ministry of Finance this morning. And so, this is what I mean. Data, obviously, is maybe preliminary until finally determined at the end of the year. And that's why I've been careful not to announce any NDR numbers. But that is what it is. And you know, in Parliament, you have to debate. You have to debate data, and you debate that appropriately.
Thank you very much. The question well answered. Any more questions? We will now...
Just to wish the honorable member, my favorite friend, very well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honorable Dr. Gideon Boako, you are not even a member of the committee. So why are you raising your hand? It appears I'm overindulging you. No. Honorable Boa, your turn.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much.
Chairman,
thank you very much.
Chairman, with respect.
Chairman, let me say that
Chairman,
you have...
With the greatest respect.
Chairman,
don't.
Let me.
Chairman, I need to come in on this.
But the chairman has recognized me unless he changes his mind.
Honorable Minority Leader, I recognize Honorable Boa.
Chairman, I'm in for a point of order. Chairman, point of order. Chairman, let's deal with this before.
Thank you, Chairman.
Chairman, let's deal with this.
Honorable Afenyamakins,
Chairman, let's deal with this.
Respect the chair.
Let's deal with this before we
respect the chair.
Chairman, let's deal with this.
Please respect the chair.
Leader, I have recognized Amaboa.
And I have noted
Thereafter,
that.
I can give you the floor.
Chairman.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Chairman.
Honorable Minority Leader, I have recognized Honorable Amaboa, the Deputy Majority Leader. I will give you the floor thereafter.
Chairman, with the greatest respect.
Chairman, let me go ahead.
Chairman, with the greatest respect.
Honorable Kesel,
Chairman, with the greatest respect to
congratulations.
You. Please, let's deal with this
thing. Very proud
so that after that
we entered
you consistently raise your voice
2009
on my colleagues. Mr. Chairman, you consistently raise your voice on my colleagues. The way you address them, the way you address my colleagues,
respect the chair.
Does not go in accord with what we all have agreed on to extend to each other that this is my fourth time of humbly pleading with you and craving your indulgence. I understand that you may have a high-pitched voice. However, I will plead with you. The way you came across as shouting on him, it happened in Honorable Abina Osaya Sari. You did it to Honorable Samia Wuku. And it's happening. I'm only
Chair-
pleading with you that in all humility, please, perhaps you did not intend that. And I'm here. If you feel that any of my colleagues is doing something or there's something that is not acceptable, we can work together. But the way
Very well.
you did it, I'm
point,
pleading with you.
point
sir.
well made.
Please, Chair.
But, Honorable Leader, with all due respect, I indulge non-members of the committee to ask a question contrary to the practice and the procedure of this particular committee. Therefore, I do not expect any non-member, after exhausting that right, to be craving to ask more questions. I think we should conduct the business in a very orderly manner. So, Honorable Amabua, your turn.
Chairman, let me say that the only reason why I yielded to Honorable Afenyomak is not because he's macho than anybody here, but because I respect this parliament and I respect the chair.
Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, proceed to ask your question.
I respect the chair.
Proceed to ask
Chairman,
your
I'm
question.
going to ask my question. Let me put it on record that, Chairman, you've been very kind to the minority today. And I've been here for a long time. And, Chairman, this extension of courtesies never happened when we were in the minority under the former chairman of the appointment committee, Honorable Osei Owusu. It never happened. And we have to make it clear that you are the only chairman that can allow anybody to speak. Honorable Afenyomak is the ranking member, but you have to give him the right to speak. Anyway, congratulations, Honorable Kesil Atufosin. I entered Parliament with you in 2009. I know that we were about 42 on our side, and then the other side also had a number. We were all together about 92. Today, after 16 years, well, we are only 4 left. That speaks volumes about the attrition of Parliament. But I am very, very, very proud of you. So if I say I know you very well, I know you very well. You are a man of complete integrity, and you speak with data and facts. And I am very, very confident that that's exactly what you do. I'm very proud of your performance today, and I think you've calmed the nerves of the people of Ghana and given them the assurance that you are going to really the finance ministry to success. So, my respected leader, I must also congratulate you on behalf of our colleague. You, as minority leader, will be remembered as the leader that in the last 2 years led the minority from 137 to 188 seats. Congratulations. So I'll go straight to my question. Ghana's economy, Honorable, is grappling with serious challenges. I think you've talked a lot about them. Debt to GDP issues, inflation, and high unemployment. And so my question is, as the Minister of Finance, what will be your top priorities to address these challenges?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, let me also thank His Excellency the President for the honor done me, and my party, the NDC, again, for giving me such an opportunity to serve Ghana in such a high position, in a position of trust. I come to this position very well prepared. I have 16 years experience in public service after some years in the private sector. The Chairman, in politics, you are aware that I've served one as a Deputy Minister of Finance, and on the other side, when my deputy spokesperson for 6 years. During this period, I have carefully studied the trends of Ghana's economy and monitored the behavior of how our economy behaves. I think I'm in a better place to move our country from these uncharted waters to a calm place. I'm determined. I'll do that for God and country. I do not think I have a room to misbehave. I've said so much in opposition. I'm minded by some of the things that I've said, and I cannot say one thing and go and do the other. Whatever it takes, I will be reminded and remember some of the things that I've said. And the criticisms, constructively. And I urge my colleagues also to do the same. I will do whatever it takes to move this economy from the crisis that we are in today to where we have to be. My priority as a minister will be low prices, stable city, and jobs. Low prices in the sense that today inflation is 28.3, inflation is 27.8, and we know the inflation we see today is anchored, is largely driven with food inflation. What do we do? As minister, I will allocate resources in consultation with cabinet to government policy of agriculture for economic transformation to make food cheaper. And we'll work with the minister responsible for agric to make food cheaper. That in itself will help make food available and protect food security. From the price side, you can't talk about price without inflation. I mean, inflation needs to be tamed. It has been stubborn. I've said it earlier. It has, in the last 8 months, you can see that we are still seeing some uptick, even though not too steep. But it has been 23.8. Today, that's the inflation rate. What do we do together to reduce this inflation? Yes, I've said it here and I want to say it again. We will work with the Bank of Ghana to reduce inflation to 8% plus or minus 2 in the shortest possible time. And how do we do this? From the fiscal side, we will front load fiscal consolidation in the shortest possible time so that we can get inflation down. And in doing so, we'll see prices stabilizing. The city needs to be anchored and has to be anchored from the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana. You can't leave the Bank of Ghana alone to anchor the city. The fiscal authorities has a role to play. I'll work with them. I will work and coordinate effectively with the central bank, the monetary authorities, so that together we can anchor the currency. Monetary financing must be eliminated, and we'll work to eliminate it. I'm on record to have spoken against monetary financing. My position has not changed. It's economist, and it still remains economist. And I will do exactly what it is to make sure we anchor the currency. On jobs, I've said it all. I've said it here that my responsibility as a minister responsible for finance is to raise the required revenue and to allocate it in consultation with cabinet to sectors that will create the jobs. And so we will do just that. And I want to repeat that. These are my priorities as a minister, and we'll work to achieve that in the shortest possible time. I want to be remembered as the one who helped to reduce prices and stabilize the currency and create jobs. That is what I ask God to help me to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you. Shama, can I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. So you talked a lot about the cost of living crisis, food inflation. Obviously, you can only do this with other sectors, other ministries, to address these, what we call the inefficiencies in the agriculture value chain. Can you outline some of the strategies that you do, working with other structures to address these inefficiencies in the agriculture value chain?
Honorable nominee, your answer, please.
Mr. Chairman, my passion is agric and agribusiness. And that's why I'm sure you've seen questions coming from Coco, left, right, and center. Why is it that food inflation is 27.8? I think it speaks volume. It speaks volume. And what are the staples? Ghana staples. Why are we not taking hard decision to invest in the agriculture sector. I think the time has come for us to pay attention to agriculture sector. I will wait for the nomination of the minister responsible for agriculture and his subsequent approval. I hope to work with the minister concerned, and we will work together to implement the government policy to make food cheaper. We have to mechanize agriculture. We have to improve and enhance productivity, and we have to modernize the agri sector and make it encouraging for young people to enter the sector. And in the process, you cannot ignore agribusiness. As I've said, that's my passion, and I intend to work with the minister responsible for agriculture to ensure food security and cheaper foods.
Honorable Minister, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Any more questions?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you. I may allow questions from the ranking member, Honorable Deputy Minority Leader, Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Martins. Honorable Deputy Minority Leader. Yes, Deputy Minority Leader. Honorable Deputy Ranking and Minority.
No.
Ranking Member and Minority Leader.
Patience and industry is a rule. And do your best. And when it gets your turn, you will be honored. Don't punch above your weight, else you get crushed. Having said this, I shall proceed with some few questions. In your earlier submission, you had said that you will not hurt the vulnerable. And if I quote you further, you also said that I am from a rural constituency. Therefore, I would champion policies that would benefit the poor. Currently, we have some social intervention programs rolling. One, free SHS, boarding, free, tuition, free, feeding, free. Would you sustain the free SHS program in its current form and shape, and even improve upon the quality? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nominee your answer to the question, whether you will sustain and improve upon the free senior high school program.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Chairman, myself and the minority leader has a history. We plan to enter this chamber together. Unfortunately, in his first attempt, he couldn't make it, and I made it. Mr. Chairman, he lost that primaries, and I won. And today, I'm 1 term older than him. Mr. Chairman, I'm his senior. He's older than me just 4 months, same year. We are 2 constituencies apart. We used to do private sector business even before we all entered here, and we've known ourselves growing up. Everyone knows the relationship between us. But working with him didn't stop me from doing my work, and it didn't stop him from also doing his work. And so, to add to colleagues, we may have relationships, but it should not stop you from doing your work. You should work for God and country, and you have to do it with the best of intention to help our country grow. We did just that. We've had a moment. We fought. We united ourselves. Today, the tables have turned. He's now the minority leader. Kwamina, learn from me and be good. Be good.
That's a good one.
Be good. Be good. Mr. Chairman, I want to say this. My party's position on free senior high school has been well articulated by His Excellency the President. We do not intend to cancel the free SHS. In fact, President Mahama has said that the free SHS has come to stay. I don't think you need any further assurance. The President of the Republic of Ghana has made this statement. Who am I? As a minister that he has appointed. So you have the assurance from the highest level of government to preserve the policy. I don't think I have what it takes to give you additional assurance. It's done. And he will be coming to this house as part of his State of the Nation address. I'm sure he will re-echo that position. I'm only a servant. My responsibility, if approved, will be to allocate resources to his priorities, or to the priorities of the government. And I'll do that. So, my brother and my friend, be assured that free SHS has come to stay. And if there is anything, we'll come to this house for us to work together. But the President has said it. The budget will be presented to this house for us to peruse, consider it, and approve it. So let's not jump the gun, but I'm sure you are very sure, you are very much aware of what His Excellency, his pronouncement in the last few years.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Chairman, I would like to know from our leader, as the holder of the purse, whether the school feeding program will be sustained.
Thank you very much. School feeding program.
Mr. Chairman, I said earlier that I come from a rural constituency. And I know the impact of school feeding program. My concern is that the amount you give today per child as the cost you pay to the caterer is not enough to pay to feed the child well. In fact, it is not enough even to buy egg. That's what it is. It's not enough to buy egg. And so we will not only sustain it, but we'll make it better. We will make it better. Because as I've said, our policies will be designed in such a way that those strong will preserve growth and protect the vulnerable. And the vulnerable is what we are talking about. Remember, the school feeding is not in Achimota. It's not in Achimota school. It's somewhere in the village. And for them, this 1 square meal or twice is enough.
Right. So Chairman, just for clarity and for the records, the caterers out there listening to you, should take it that the current amount being paid to them is going to increase once you take over. With that assurance, what percentage should they expect? 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%? Because you say that the amount being paid is woefully inadequate. You didn't just say inadequate, you say woefully inadequate. So please let the caterers know, as the holder of the purse, the percentage you are going to increase their costs.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you very much. But
Chairman,
before you provide your answer,
the minority leader is putting words in my mouth.
yes, but before you provide your answer, can you state how much is it now? Well,
Mr. Chairman, I never said we are going to increase it. I never used that word. I said that we will sustain it and improve on it, and made reference to the amount we pay and said it's not enough, because I've heard the caterers complain. So, Chairman, this is a house of records. Whatever we say here goes into the Hansard. I never said that. And so, Mr. Chairman,
thank you very much.
You don't just increase. You need to engage the sector. And so it will be difficult for me to sit here and just announce. I don't work like that, arbitrary. What is the basis of just announcing 20%? I don't work like that. I'm a careful person. So I cannot announce things that I don't know.
Chairman, the honorable nominee said that he is aware that the caterers have been complaining. That is a fact that is coming from him. 2, he says that they are not being paid enough, considering even the cost of an egg. He referred to that. And he's going to improve upon it. Now, what is the definition of improvement? This is a matter of cost. If you say the amount is not enough, even the cost of an egg, and looking at how much they are being paid. So obviously, you are suggesting to them that you are going to increase the amount they are being paid. And if you cannot give us a percentage, that's fine. I won't push. But I want you to be on record that upon assumption of office, the caterer should expect an increase in the amount being paid as compared to the current payment they are receiving. Just for the record.
Mr. Chairman.
Honourable Member, I think from your answer, the indication is clear that the amount is woefully inadequate and it will be improved. He attests to the fact that sitting there, you will not be able to indicate the percentage improvement. So the answer is already per the record.
Mr. Chairman, just to also add that we have to first pay the caterers, because I know not long ago, last week, they were picketing and demanding their payment. And so the first attention is to make sure you pay them, the caterers, because some of them had to borrow before they engage in such a business. So let's pay them first and sit with them. I don't know the quantum of arrest. We need to know the arrest, the amount of money the government of Ghana owes these caterers. We ascertain it, pay them, make them happy, and then we'll move on.
Mr. Chair, as for this, I know it as a fact. So I will give a voluntary answer. Honorable leader and my respected colleague, government paid all caterers, and I want you to quote me. The last term, it's only this term that is, which has just begun, that government does not owe, that perhaps government owes, because the term would have to end. But I want you to know that I am aware that government paid all outstandings to caterers. The MPP government, at the time of leaving office, had paid every single caterer. Every single caterer was paid. There is no outstanding. And that it is this current term which has just begun, that upon completion, they will send their invoices for validation. So just for the records, and I pray that with assurance that there's going to be improvement in the amount being paid. You are saying that you won't use the word increase, but you will use the word improvement. Well, it means the same. So they expect that this current term, God willing, as you take over as a fresh ATO, they are going to enjoy an improved payment. Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, having put that on record, let me go back to the issue of cocoa price per bag. In an earlier response to questions that came from the floor, my respected colleague indicated that, well, the cocoa sector is under the Ministry of Agri, and that if there is any policy realignment, he will look at it. He also indicated that he's a key advocate for cocoa farmers. He did also indicate that he would advocate for the cocoa farmer. Now, the issue is beyond advocacy. You are now the man in charge of the press, and you know the pressure on cocoa farmers. The 6,000 Ghana cedi per bag that you committed, would it be your benchmark in your advocacy and eventual decision for the cocoa farmer? Because they are listening.
Thank you, Honorable Minority Leader. You may ask another question.
Mr. Chairman, cocoa money does not come to the the consolidated fund. Cocoa money is outside the consolidated fund. It stays with the Ghana Cocoa Board. Ghana Cocoa Board uses this money part to buy cocoa, part to buy fertilizers and other inputs. I don't know what Cocoa Board is leaving behind. I don't know the extent of arrests they are leaving behind. I don't know the extent of debt that the Ghana Cocoa Board is leaving behind. I will not do this committee any good if I sit here and announce cocoa price. But as I've said, I remain a key advocate for the cocoa farmer. I will do so with the best of intention for the cocoa farmer. I recognize their sacrifices. I've spoke for them in the last 8 years, and I will continue to speak for the cocoa farmer. That I can assure you. But let's get to the Cocoa Board first and see what they have to do. I still maintain that the price they are paying the cocoa farmer is inadequate. I maintain that it's inadequate.
Thank you.
And there is more room for improvement.
Thank you. Further question?
Chairman, is a nominee conceding that the 6,000 per bag he quoted on the floor of the House was a mere political statement?
Mr. Chairman, the 6,000 Ghana cedi per bag should have been paid in the last crop year. Mr. Chairman, I say this because Cocoa Board is gradually turning themselves into a procurement agent just to procure inputs and denying the cocoa farmer. So they could have adjusted their formula to benefit the cocoa farmer. Very soon, the minister responsible for Agric will be in place. I commit to work with him to give the cocoa farmer a fair price. And I believe the cocoa farmer deserves a fair price. And I know His Excellency the former president quoted me previously that I had said the cocoa farmer deserves 6,100. I'm not running away from that fact. I said it on the floor, and I backed it with the world market price in the city at the time, and still maintain that the cocoa farmer deserves 6,100. I've not run away from that position.
Thank you. You've been consistent in your answer on this. Any further question?
Rightly so, sir. Chairman, the nominee is being vetted as Minister of Finance. I want to ask I want to ask him whether economic planning will be part of his responsibilities.
Thank you very much. Though the instrument is very clear, you may proceed to answer the question.
Mr. Chairman, the instrument said Ministry of Finance. We are aware that the National Development Planning Commission deals with economic planning, but they interface with the Ministry of Finance. Fiscal policy in itself includes economic planning. And so there's an interface and coordination between the Ministry of Finance and the National Development Planning Commission. We will accordingly do so.
Very much. More question.
Chairman, the instrument titled Executive Instrument EI1, Civil Service Instrument 2025, dated the 9th of January 2025, state the following: Ministries of the Civil Service. The following ministries in the civil service are hereby established. A, Ministry of Finance. If you go to the unreferenced letter from the Office of the President, signed by Callistius Mahama, PhD. No, he put Callistius Mahama, PhD. My colleagues like to heckle me. When I give them a small dose, then they'll be crying. Anyway, signed by Callistius Mahama, PhD, Secretary to the President. Which letter? The unreferenced letter, dated the 9th of January 2025, states as follows: in accordance with Article 78(1) of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, 1992, I hereby, on behalf of His Excellency John Mahama, submit for consideration and approval of Parliament the following nominees for ministerial appointment. 1. Dr. Kasiel Atoba Forsen, MP, Minister Designate, Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. I'm staying a bit longer on this because the instrument is dated 9th. The letter, communication to us, is also dated 9th. Which is which?
Honorable nominee, before you come in, leader, you know that the EI will take precedence over the letter.
Chairman, does that mean that we should put the nominees' vetting on hold and expect the presidency to communicate the correct designation to us? Because what you are saying, which I agree, that the instrument which comes under constitutional provision, Article 11, if we go to Article 11, for the avoidance of doubt, may we go to Article 11 of the Constitution, the hierarchy of laws. Give me your Constitution. No. From the presidency, stating the correct office you are going to hold. Because that contradiction can only be cured by a letter. In any event, the instrument is not formally before the House. You see, we are concerned because we thought the NDC, having had an experience in government before, was fully prepared for this term. You know, so with 8 quality men and women in charge of governance. We were expecting this to have been done. But I will not hold back your vetting. I am bringing this to attention of Chair to ferry these concerns to the presidency so that we get a new letter. And I pray that that letter comes before we take the report on the floor. That said, let me move to my next question.
Honorable Leader, I pleaded with you that let's concentrate on the substance, but not the form. Before you proceed, I recognize the Chief Whip.
Chairman, I sympathize with the minority leader. He raised this point earlier, and you rightly said, our committee had a pre-sitting meeting. All these issues were taken into consideration, and we came to a conclusion that we would do the vetting today. And I mean, we all commended them for this kindness. So going to bring back this thing and suggesting that somebody should have known something, I think these were the issues we discussed. Otherwise, what is the point of having pre-sitting meetings and then to decide on the path to take? And then in the public, we are making it look as if these issues were not addressed. So I'm pleading with you. You have your right as the leader of the opposition to bring forth your point. But you are taking us back a bit, and unfortunately, the majority of the people watching us did not benefit from the pre-meeting arrangement. So I'm pleading with you once again. I just want to remind you, once again, the shortest vetting we've had in this parliament since I entered was the vetting of Honorable Che Mensah Bonsu, leader of the majority, leader of the House. The shortest. The opposite happening today is the longest. Just that on record again. And you were the one who actually brought this up and reminded us. And you are participating in the longest ever vetting. As for Parliament and Ghana, it will continue to exist. We just hope one day nobody will insist. We insist that vetting of another leader should be the shortest.
Mr. Chairman, the shortest vetting we've ever had was with Honorable Alban Suman Kingsford Bagbin. Let the records be perused. It's not Che Mensah Bonsu, so you check it. That said, I do not want to believe that Honorable Member Govin Abuja is trying to frustrate the process here. Fortunately, Honorable Roxanne Eche Defiamapo is right here with us. We have had him on record, including Honorable Govin Abuja, interrogating phrases used, sentences used, grammar, and paragraphs contained in a letter from Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to the House. So please, if I'm just clarifying, just for the record, and don't, unduly come in. I beg you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, honorable members. Let's make progress.
So
the point well noted. So proceed.
All right. Thank you very much. Honorable nominee, we assume without any doubt that the president has serious confidence in you, your capacity to help finance his flagship projects, and obviously values your insight and contributions in crafting policy. May you share with us if there is any planning and modeling to guide the development of the 24-hour economy policy.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, His Excellency the President has appointed the Honorable Guzitando as the Special Advisor for 24 Hours Economy. His office, prior to his nomination, have worked extensively on a policy, a 24-hour economic policy. In the coming days, we will make those policies public, working with the Ministry of Finance. When approved, we'll work with them to implement the 24-hour economy. But as I've said earlier, I strongly believe that we can increase our GDP or double our GDP with the same capital and the same resources, with the same labor. I think it is up to us to work closely with the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on 24-hour economy and this House, so that together we can tweak it. Look, let me say that if Ghana succeeds, we all succeed. And so we'll have to work together. I don't have the full details of the work they've done. And as I said, the work didn't just start. They've been working in the last 2 years to develop a program towards this 24-hour economy agenda. No wonder the Honorable Guzitando was nominated to lead it, because he has been leading it since opposition. Thank you.
So, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Next question.
Chairman, so just for the ordinary Ghanaian, what is a 24-hour economy? Just for the ordinary Ghanaian to understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
He needs the explanation of 24-hour economy from you.
Mr. Chairman, simple put, a 24-hour economy is an economy where the rare sectors of the economy doesn't sleep. The rare sectors of the economy doesn't sleep. For example, we have a mining sector, don't we? We want to see where the mining sector does not sleep, as against a situation where the mining sector, for example, does 12 hours and go to bed. The benefits of light electricity, they should be able to work 24 hours. And many other sectors. You have the hydrocarbon sector. You have the entire agriculture value chain. It's not just going to farm, but after farm, the produce must go to a warehouse. And you have to, obviously, process it into agribusiness. And so we don't want the value chain to go to sleep. We believe that if implemented properly, we'll be able to increase the workforce. And we've said, just like we have now, can end up employing 3. So 24-hour economy is a structure where we'll end up implementing a 3 shift for the economy and going forward, bring out productivity.
With the explanation of 24-hour economy.
Chairman, stay out of this matter. Honorable nominee, are you suggesting, therefore, that the structure of our economy as it stands now has no such input as 24-hour economy already subsisting?
There's some semblance of 24
Please,
hour.
go ahead with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, I think if you talk about the rare sector, no. You see, the rare sector are the core sectors of the economy that drives inclusive growth, proper growth, and create jobs. You have health, where hospitals operate 24 hours. You have the police, some police stations, work 24 hours and all, some restaurants and all. But that's not what we are talking about. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking of the real sector, where jobs are created. For example, we have Takrady Port, my birthplace, where I grew up, secondly, Takrady Port. And you have mines, where you used to work, the Awaso area. Going all the way to Yini. With a proper railway line, you can get the Yini mines to produce bauxite within the same 24 hours. As what has been produced, you can haul it to Takrady Port and ship them or process it. The whole process is what we are talking about, 24-hour economy. So it's the rail that we are talking about. Investment in the rail sector, deliberate government policy targeting the rail sector, where you can use the 24-hour economic policy to drive growth. That's what we are talking about, not chop bars. We are not talking of chop bars. We are not talking of pharmacy shop. That's not what we are talking about, real sector growth.
So are you therefore saying that you've done some costing, and having done some costing, you have an approach in terms of this model? Because from your answer, you are suggesting that you are going to target certain sectors. And if you are targeting these sectors and you really want to fuel economic growth, it means that you need to inject some funding. So let us know what funding arrangement you have in place to back this policy.
Mr. Chairman, to the President, responsible for 24-hour economy. I know they're almost done, and because the work started 2 years ago whilst we were in opposition. Today he's in office. He will need to tweak it and present same to Parliament. Obviously, what will be presented to Parliament will come from either the Ministry of Finance together with the Ministry of Trade. So let's wait for that. The President has appointed someone responsible for 24-hour economy. Let's wait for the person to provide us a proper blueprint, then we'll talk about it.
Thank you. Any further question, Leader?
Yes, please.
You have a long way to go.
Chairman, we have a 10 billion public infrastructure investment plan proposed by the NDC. At the same time, the NDC in government seeks to introduce the sinking fund and cap government borrowing. This is a manifesto promise. First, I want to know whether you pledge your support for this manifesto promise. And if so, walk us through the numbers and demonstrate how it fits into the IMF framework for 2025 to 2028.
Mr. Chairman, because I was part in formulating that manifesto. Mr. Chairman, yes, we promised to set up a sinking fund. It's necessary. It is required. If we had single fund today, I wouldn't be sitting here lamenting that there are debts that will fall due, yet we do not have buffers. We need to establish that sinking fund. We've done it in the past, and we'll do it again. I've said that it is only right for you to save during good times to take off bad times. So we'll save when it's good, and when it's bad, we'll have buffers to be able to deal with the challenges. There's the need for us to cap borrowing. We have to cap borrowing. You can't borrow into an unsustainable pit. We've seen it in the past. Can we continue the same way? Can we continue giving bondholders haircuts? No. You know the consequences of the haircuts that we went through. The banking sector today is limping, and we'll have to borrow to support the banking sector as a result of the haircuts that the country went through. And many others. Pensioners have to suffer. Individual bondholders have to lose their capital, some their medication and all. We need to cap the borrowing. We need to have a plan to cap those borrowings. And so we commit to that. Aside what you mentioned, the 10 billion big push policy, the economy must grow in spite of all of this. Ghana's economy must grow. 10 billion over 4 years gives you 2.5 billion. The outgoing government, the immediate past government, Agenda 111, has left behind 1.5 billion for us to complete Agenda 111. We know all of that. But I can assure you that in spite of the challenges, we have to carefully invest in the rare sector. And you know my biases already. Hydrocarbons, mining, infrastructure, agric and agribusiness, and SMEs. We need to finance these sectors. And the rare sector development is key. So 10 billion US dollars, we can fund it over the medium term, over a 4-year period. And I've said here, the quality of expenditure matters. You have a choice to take 58 million US dollars to build National Cathedral. In the same vein, you have a choice to use 4 times that amount to be able to construct a proper highway between Accra and Kumasi. What would that do for you? It will increase productivity. So it's a matter of the quality of expenditure. We will do it. And we have to do it to move this country forward.
Thank you very much.
Chairman.
Is that the end, or you have more
Chairman,
questions?
I learned something from Dr. Forson. I'm not an economist. Mine is law, but we are learning. He once said there's a difference between releases and payments. So government will release to controller, and then controller would have to effect the payment. So when the actual, you can talk about actual payment when you are in receipt of your payment. Are you correct? Very well. So I would want to use that to clarify an earlier point that I made from the school feeding secretariat, that government released the entire 72 days owed the caterers to controller. And the actual payment received out of those release letters, the letter that goes to controller, payment received by the caterers was for 42 days. And that the 32 days outstanding is yet to be received by the caterers. So I just wanted that on record. And that becomes your first responsibility, to ensure that the controller complies with the releases. Are you ready to ensure that the controller complies with the releases?
Mr. Chairman, you are aware that...
Well, before coming to answer the question, I thought you said they have fully paid. But now that you are admitting that payment has not been paid and they are agitating...
Chairman, with respect...
I would ask the nominee to respond to your clarification.
No. Chairman, we are politicians, and I understand languages when they are coded to mean something. I've been in this business with you, so wait. I've noted that since it got to my turn, all my questions, you find a way of repeating. We've been doing this. I was playing number 6 when I was on government side, so I understand the game you want, but wait. No. Chairman, I was doing...
Which number am I playing?
I don't know, but it's for you to determine the number you are playing. But let's get back. We all learn. And when you're learning, you don't have to be worried about mistakes. So you learn. I'm saying that government released all outstandings. And through the warrant that government communicated to the controller, it was for the full amount owed the caterers, the 72 days. So government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, at the time of leaving office, released the entire outstanding to be paid. Now, the records have it that as at 31st, had only paid 42 days out of what he was directed to pay, and that we have some days outstanding in releases yet to be paid. Do we have your commitment to ensure that the controller complies with this?
Honorable nominee, your comment.
Mr. Chairman, I keep guiding the committee that let's be careful not to speculate because we don't have the full picture yet. You may think it's 30-something days left, but you will end up seeing worse. So I urge that let's take our time, get to the ministry, do a proper assessment as to the arrest due, and have a plan to repay. Mr. Chairman, today the government pays 1 cedi 50 pesos for a child to be fed. 1 cedi 50 pesos. Okay, and I've said that it is not enough even to buy egg. I've also said that there are some arrests we need to pay. Let's get to the ministry. And when we get there, we'll work to make sure these caterers are paid first. And then we can look into the future, what we can do for the school feeding.
Thank you very much, Leader.
Chairman, now back to the issue of your 10 billion public infrastructure investment fund. I want to know from you, Honorable Nominee, how much of the 10 billion shall be raised in each year, and how will that fit under the debt ceiling manifesto, the debt ceiling in your manifesto, because you are proposing a certain debt ceiling. You are also talking about raising this 10 billion. I want to know how you intend to go about it and how much of same each year. Thank you.
Nominee.
Mr. Chairman, the policy will be submitted to Parliament for approval. The big push policy will be submitted to Parliament for approval.
Thank you very much.
In it, we'll give you the breakdown, how it's done, how we are going to raise money, and when we are going to start, and how much goes into each year. So the details will be provided to this House.
Thanks. Any further question?
Chairman, the nominee has two major interventions to make to meet a policy initiative of the government. And because you hold the purse, it would squarely come to you. One, the free university tuition for first year. Second, the extra costs to be incurred under free SHS to cover private schools. So these are two main expenditure lines to look out for. So let me start with the first one. With the free university tuition for first years, I understand the university students are starting their semester 1. Now, are you going to implement it now, the free first year tuition for university students? Are you going to implement it this academic year, which has just begun, and would you factor it in your budget, which you are going to present? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, proceed with the answer.
Mr. Chairman, first, I'm not yet the Minister of Finance. Second, Mr. Chairman, I have to be at the ministry to assess the situation and introduce government policies accordingly. My responsibility as Minister of Finance will include mobilizing domestic revenue to fund government projects or government flagships. I will do that, not alone, but working with Cabinet. I'm mindful of our manifesto promises, and I should be the one to be able to recommend same to government if we can afford it. And as long as it's in government manifesto and there are timelines to it, I commit to it. I commit to it, and we'll do just that. But let me get to the ministry first, and let's see what we can do.
Thank you.
So, Chair, Honorable Nominee, are you suggesting that you have not considered the costing of this policy, the free tuition for first-year university students?
Chairman, that is very wrong. I've never said that. It doesn't matter the costing. It must fit into a framework. And I have to get into the ministry first. I can't pretend to use this podium to read the national budget. This is not a budget. Let me get there so that I can present the budget to you, and some of these policies will be appropriate.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, I would want a further clarity on this all-important policy. Your manifesto talks about tertiary. Tertiary is not only the universities, but post-secondary institutions that award diplomas, certificates, in my view, are tertiary institutions. So you have nursing training institutions, nursing, you have the colleges of education. Are they all going to be factored in the free first-year tuition to avoid discrimination?
Mr. Chairman, I think I've made this point already. I'm not yet in a position to make policy pronouncement on behalf of the government. I'm only a designate, a nominee. And you need to approve me first. Give me the power to be able to make policies and announce to you policies. Mr. Chairman, you may ask the Honorable Minority Leader to file a question so that I can come and answer when I become the minister.
Thank you very much. You have to file a question.
Chairman,
after approval.
No worries at all. But you see, a distinction must be made. There are matters that you need to get to the ministry to enable you have it handy. And those are not the ones I'm asking you. These are policies. And being part of a political party leadership, I know what goes into manifesto pledges. We had hints many months, or if not a year or two ago, that you were leading the economic team of your party. We know. Therefore, you've always known about this policy. It didn't just get into your manifesto. What I want to know from you are facts within your domain, whether colleges of education, colleges of agriculture, colleges of nursing, and other institutions that are tertiary institutions are part of this free first-year tuition. That is what I want to know from you, because you know what is tertiary when you were drafting the policy. That's what I want you to tell me, not something that you will get to know upon arriving at the ministry.
Leader, with all due respect, the word tertiary is unambiguous. You are just calling on the nominee to give you an interpretation of tertiary. I think we should give the word tertiary its ordinary meaning, and then we can proceed.
Chairman, thank you very much. I can understand where you are coming from. But you see, we are a political class, and we are dealing with a social intervention deliverables. Those watching us would want clarity, and that is all I seek to do, so that somebody at Legon would not assume that university is university and that he or she will benefit. But somebody at the nursing college in Winneba who is doing a diploma in nursing would think that because they did not explain it, he or she will not benefit. So I know you had the benefit of knowing what tertiary means at the time you were drafting this policy, when you said you would give first-year tertiary students free tuition. You pay for them. Government will pay. So parents would not need to pay at all. You know? So I just want the clarification.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's unambiguous in our manifesto what we said. I do not seek to reinterpret what is in the manifesto. And it's as clear as possible. In the next budget, if you have any doubt, we can clarify those in the next budget. Thank you.
Fair enough, Chairman, fair enough. So let me come to the next leg of this social intervention, the free SHS. So you have promised that you will extend it to the private secondary schools. You are going to be a major advisor to government. Have you planned, do you have a plan as to the number of students in the private secondary schools? And if so, have you looked at the cost?
Mr. Chairman, the number of students in the private school as at yesterday cannot be the same as today. It moves. So whatever target or whatever costing that was done was done with the data as at the time they did assessment. I was not part of the group that did assessment. Today, we are in office. You need to look at the data, the number of people concerned, and how much you are paying. Let's get to office. The president is only 2 weeks, it's less than 2 weeks old, it's 1 week old. Let's get to the office, and then we can start work. There's no minister at post as we speak. And so you need to help the president to constitute his cabinet as soon as possible so that they can advise him for him to come to Parliament to deliver his State of the Nation address. Thank you.
So the private secondary schools that you propose to extend free SHS to is going to include Ghana International School, Lincoln, Association, because all these are private schools, secondary schools. Are you going to include them?
Well, the nominee is capable of answering the question. Other than that, private school is private school.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware that Ghana International Lincoln undertakes WASI. They don't write WASI. I'm not aware. I'm not aware that Ghana International School goes through West Africa Examination Council. They do GCSEs and A-levels and others. I'm not aware that you can equate Lincoln with a school fees of $30,000 to Achimota School. I'm not aware of that. The Chairman, let's get to work. And when we get there, we'll present to this House a comprehensive program. The Chairman, the previous administration was unable to pass the free SHS bill. You are aware of that. And, Mr. Chairman, we will regulate this free senior high school policy properly to make it sustainable, so that it becomes part of our nation's development. I think His Excellency the President has made this pronouncement, and so we'll do what we have to do. The Honorable Minority Leader knows me well, that I'm a man of my word, and I can give him that assurance that whatever it takes, we'll come to this House and seek your approval.
Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Is the nominee fully aware that in respect of the promises by his party in the health sector, the party engaged an independent body, which body gave it a minimum cost of 18 billion? Are you aware of this? And do you agree to that? The health sector promises. that your party made?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware. The only thing I'm aware of is during the transition, I was told that Agenda 111 would take 1.5 billion US dollars to complete, but I'm not aware of this 18 billion. I don't know.
Are you committed to completing the Agenda 111 with that that amount? Are you committed to that?
Mr. Chairman, the immediate past government was in office for 8 years. They announced the Agenda 111 in 2020. We were told they were going to complete it within a year and two. Mr. Chairman, this is 4 years. They have not been able to complete Agenda 111. We have huge debt awaiting the next government. What we know is that His Excellency the President has committed that he is going to complete all ongoing projects. I'm a servant of the President. I'll be his minister if approved. And so when you approve me as minister, I'll assess the situation. I'll find out what you are leaving behind and be able to advise the President appropriately. By the moment, I'm not in a position to advise him because I do not have the full data of what is the true state of Ghanaian economy.
Thank you.
Chairman, I have the last two for my respected brother and colleague, and I'll call it a day. Leader, your government has indicated that its financing needs will be alleviated from second quarter in 2025 as debt service payment to bondholders resume. Considering that T-bills will not be sustainable to meet the financing needs, tell us what strategies you intend to pursue to meet the high financing needs without jeopardizing debt sustainability.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, financing is a function of the budget. If you throw out a huge deficit, you have to finance it. So you have to throw out the deficit first. We don't intend to throw out an unsustainable financing, where the gross financing needs is in a way that if you go to the market, you will not be able to finance and put further pressure on the market. So as I've said, we'll front load the fiscal consolidation on expenditure base. So let's introduce the budget, and when we introduce the budget, we'll know the financing needs, and we'll make sure that we'll be able to finance our budget. But there are options. We'll work with our development partners. There's World Bank, there's IMF, there is EU and all. So if there's any financing need, aside the market, both domestic and external, we'll be able to tap into the financing, our financing request from the development partners. So these are options that we can do.
Now, as a follow-up on that, I'm quite curious. So how would you raise this 10 billion without borrowing? This 10 billion, you had indicated to me earlier that you will present your plan to Parliament, and in that we'll know as a house how much you intend to raise each year. Now, you are so sensitive to your debt servicing strategy. Now, how do you intend to still achieve this without borrowing?
Mr. Chairman, I've never said we are not going to borrow. I've said that financing needs are a function of the budget, and it depends on the fiscal deficit you throw out. If you throw out a fiscal deficit of 10% of GDP, you have to finance the 10%. Where are you financing the 10% of your GDP? Are you financing it from debt? And if it's debt, what kind of debt? Is it domestic, T-bills, or long-dated? Is it external or kind of? So I'm saying that your concern will be dealt with the kind of financing we throw out. If we throw out 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, and the market can accommodate it, so be it. So let's look at the options available. But all of this will depend on your financing needs. So for us, fiscal discipline will be the anchor, and we'll be mindful of the market needs and what the market can accommodate.
Thank you.
Chairman.
I thought you said 2 questions.
No, there was a follow-up. Chairman,
So is that the last question?
The nominee has addressed us on some key issues, and I'm happy with his approach thus far. I would want to ask him, he's aware that a key development partner, the IMF, entered into some agreement with us. And in that agreement, they required of us to put in place certain measures. He is aware that the e-levy and the betting tax and other taxes he considers are nuisance taxes have been captured as part of our revenue sources in this agreement with the IMF. So government really has no unfettered discretion. How do you justify the repealing of these tax laws without hurting the very agreement that you have with the IMF? You think, in other words, you think that you can freely repeal these tax laws and without introducing a new revenue measure, the fund will be happy with you and will not see that your repealing of these tax laws amount to breaching an existing agreement with them? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the IMF did not ask the former government to introduce e-levy. The e-levy was introduced before the IMF program, and so the IMF did not ask you to introduce e-levy. The betting tax was also introduced by yourselves, not the IMF, not an IMF prescription. The IMF will give you a fiscal deficit to achieve. It is up to you how you achieve it, and we'll do just that.
Yeah,
let
Chairman,
me say this.
Okay, sure.
But let me say this, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the NDC government recognizes that there is an IMF program. We are committed to implement the IMF program. We are also committed to achieve the objectives of the IMF program. We are not going to jettison the IMF program. We implement it. It is an agreement between the Republic of Ghana and the International Monetary Fund. Today, we are in government. We have a responsibility to implement it. I'm on record to have said that we will implement the IMF program. And so we'll implement the IMF program. We are not running away from that. And so whatever it takes, we will not run away from the implementation of the IMF program. And we'll implement it to the latter and achieve the objectives of the IMF program.
So, Chair, is the nominee therefore suggesting to us that repealing these tax laws, these taxes that he considers them nuisance, repealing them without introducing new taxes or other forms of taxes in their place will not amount to breaching the IMF agreement?
Mr. Chairman, you can rake in other form of revenue through compliance. You can use compliance measures to bring in additional revenue to replace these taxes you are removing.
Finally, leader, your government is proposing overhauling the existing foreign exchange regime. As finance minister, what is the alternative? Have you any comprehensive foreign exchange policy you will pursue? Because it's not just enough to say that you will depart from the existing foreign exchange regime. The country would like to know how you intend to come up with an alternative policy, which policy will help to address the currency depreciation and build more foreign exchange buffers. We would want to know from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Bank of Ghana has the mandate to deal with our foreign exchange regime. I'm not being vetted as a governor of the Republic of Ghana or the Bank of Ghana. I'm being vetted as a minister responsible for finance. I don't want to make policies or policy proposals that will tie the monetary policy regime. I think we should leave that to the central bank and the governor or the next governor to be able to have the power to deal with the monetary policy, particularly the management of our foreign exchange. But I'm a record to have said that the Bank of Ghana alone cannot be left to anchor the currency. It doesn't mean we are going to micromanage the foreign exchange regime. It means we are going to coordinate with the Bank of Ghana. So we'll coordinate effectively with the central bank to be able to manage Ghana's foreign exchange regime. That I know we will do.
Chairman, just a follow-up. You see, leader, your manifesto did not say that this is a mandate of the central bank. You will come up with a lead policy, which policy have a far-reaching consequences on the economy. The central bank would only look at you as an arrowhead and implement in a direction that the government policy so directs or chooses. So I think that to run away from it may be a bit unfortunate. It cannot be said by you as a holder of the purse that this is a matter for the central bank. Please, at the time you crafted this and engraved same in your policy, you knew what you wanted to achieve. The people of Ghana do not want to get the impression that you did matricle, because you said it on good authority that this is what you are going to do. So I want to know from you whether indeed, as the head of the Exchequer, you are committed to this, and not to say that it's a duty of the central bank.
Mr. Chairman, I was trying to refer you to the constitutional provision of the Bank of Ghana. And we all know that the Constitution mandates the central bank to manage the central our foreign exchange. Mr. Chairman, our manifesto did not say the Minister of Finance would be the one to manage the foreign exchange regime. No. We announced our economic policies. And you know that it takes both monetary and fiscal to manage the economy. It's not only the Ministry of Finance that manages the economy. And so it's the two of us. And so, Mr. Chairman, I want to jealously guard the independence of the central bank when it comes to monetary policy formulation. Monetary policy formulation and the management of the foreign exchange. That is in their purview. Let's respect it. Allow the next governor or the governor to deal with it. Chairman, I so submit.
Thank you for your question. I am told. Oh, do you have a further question? Leader, you said two more.
Chairman.
And you've asked three. You have a further question?
Chairman, since the nominee has referred us to the Constitution, and we also have the manifesto promise of his party, it is important we reconcile. If at all material times the nominee knew that the foreign exchange regime, the policy is squarely under Article 183 of the Constitution, and that is under the control of Bank of Ghana, then why did his party commit to this in a manifesto? Because the manifesto did not make that reference, and you introduce it as a government policy to be led by the finance minister. And you're on record to have chastised the former finance minister, Mr. Kenuforiata, when we had issues with our currency. The blame was on him as the finance minister. I remember the famous Ken Must Go. I remember. Oh, can I finish? Oh, can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? The duty, a certain British politician once said, the duty of His Majesty's opposition leader is to oppose. Rather, and we are opposing with all the energy in us, and we are being reasonable. But
let's take the last question.
Please, let's finish. But if the heckling is coming from the majority, then we have every cause to be concerned. Please, let's finish this.
Nobody is talking. You have the microphone.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you. So my question to you is this. When we had the depreciation of the cedi, your side in Parliament chastised the finance minister for not showing leadership in managing the cedi. To you, it wasn't about Bank of Ghana. And I'm saying that today, in your manifesto, you have re-echoed that same policy. And if you are now going to quote the Constitution to say that that is going to be the responsibility of central bank, then my question to you is that, did you mislead the Ghanaian people when you engraved that in your manifesto?
Mr. Chairman, that is inaccurate. Mr. Chairman, let me also refer you to the same Constitution, Article 184, 183, 1834. Mr. Chairman, it says the following shall apply to the governor of the Bank of Ghana. He shall be appointed by the president, acting in consultation with the Council of State for a period of 4 years. Mr. Chairman, the governor will have to be appointed by the president. The governor will have to subscribe to the ideals and the vision of the president in foreign exchange, the foreign exchange management. The president has a social contract. He signed a social contract with the people of Ghana. His appointment or his appointee must reflect exactly that. And so, Mr. Chairman, we have not had the same Constitution talking about the mandate of the central bank says that the president must appoint the governor. And so you have to appoint someone who subscribes to your ideals, someone who buys into your vision. And so he's going to appoint someone he believes will do what it takes. And so that will be done. That will be done.
Thank you very much.
You are going to, Chairman, he's introduced an important matter. There's a central bank governor. We have a governor of the central bank.
Who has mismanaged the bank? Yes. He's going home. 2 months more. Central mismanaged by the mismanager of the bank, not the manager.
When is his tenure coming to an end?
Chairman, you should be telling us, but I know he has had his 2 terms, 2 maximum terms, and he has some months to go. So certainly within the next 4 years, the president will have the opportunity to appoint a governor.
I mean, after he has retired?
I am not the appointing authority.
Pardon? No. Mr. Chairman, we need some protection here. The majority, exactly. Honorable nominee, you are telling the committee that the governor has some few months to go. I want to ask you that this new appointment you are referring to, would it be after his retirement?
Honorable members, the Constitution states clearly the tenure of office of the governor. So definitely what the nominee is saying is that within a period, it will come to an end and the president will have the opportunity. This issue as whether when exactly it will end is not a question for the nominee to be asked.
Chairman, I think your ranking member is done.
Yes.
So if you raise new issues, you may invite him again.
So honorable members, it's now my turn to answer a question. To ask a question, but I have no question for the nominee. I will use the period to acknowledge the presence of some guests in our midst who are here to give moral support to the nominee. They are Nana Efua Esiwa II, Paramount Queen Mother, Ejumako, Ama Forsen, sister to the nominee, Kwesi Forsen, Kojo Forsen, brothers to the nominee, Sechiwa Claudia, sister, Reverend Pa Kojo, brother, Mr. Afrifa, brother, Professor Ferdinand Ahiakpo, staff, James Ajenin Boatin, staff, and Professor Jonathan Annan, Ejumako Enyan SCM constituency chairman. May I have the privilege to say you are most welcome. Honourable members, let me use the opportunity to thank the nominee for attending upon the committee. Honourable Minister Designate, you are discharged, but you will surely hear from the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I just want to say a word. Mr. Chairman, today you did not treat me like the majority leader of the Ghana's parliament, but I recognize that this had to happen because I'm going to serve
sensitive position.
In a very sensitive position. I recognize that. Thank you.
Yeah. Members, we'll have 30 minutes break to ourselves. We'll resume. Yes. Yes, 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Okay, let's make it. Energy.